NBA playoffs have 3 categories.
It's the third season right now for the NBA, and we're going to get to that.
Well, the players have 3 categories, and we better get into it. Come on,
settle down. We're going to get to it. Thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we're going to get our show. Cleveland got me all distracted over here with this nonsense. We're going to start. Let's get started like this.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name is Cameron.
Cam Buford.
You got some good questions today.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works for the promoter.
Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
It's not like that.
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh
Fan
my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
tears.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right? Like you said, Pacific Northwest. So, I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for the whole
Cam, nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I feel like that translated.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's the big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yes, fans. It's week 236 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Why don't you go ahead, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys for being here. You can be anywhere you want to in this world, but you chose to be with us. Listen to the Voice of the Fans podcast with myself, Cam Buford, and Mr. Cleavon Steele. What's going on, Cleavon?
Hey, what's happening, Cam? My time of the year.
Your time. We'll explain to the people what that means, sir.
Oh man, that means it is playoff time, and all of my criteria and fruition get put on full display in front of everybody, and we gonna find out.
Yeah, we gonna find out what all that hoopla means. That's for sure. Cleavon, we start the show. We got a lot of things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the NFL offseason, as always. There's a lot of things cracking. Some big things going on. You told me last week this didn't matter. You told me a move last week that was made over the weekend. You told me, Cleavon, last week did not matter, it meant nothing. We're going to get to your explanation once we know now that the ink is dry out there in Baltimore. We're going to talk about that. It's NBA playoffs, as you mentioned. We got playing tournaments going on right now. Atlanta shocking the world by smacking the Miami Heat around. We're going to talk about that. We're going to smacking around. We're going to talk about some boxing. It was a hell of a weekend for combat sports. I don't know what kind of sports fan we got out there, but for combat sports, it was a hell of a weekend we had. We're going to talk about that. And as always, we got this week in history. But our new segment, Mr. Cleavon, we got our top five shows topics we're going to get into. Obviously, we're going to get into big time today is we're going to announce I'm going to give you my NBA top 15 players in the league. All pro, 1, 2, first, second, and third team. I'm going to reveal that today. All NBA, first, second, and third team. We're going to get your response. Going to give Cleavon a chance to respond and retort. He says, is this time of the season? Like, you have to be special to get to this time of season. Not everybody gets here. So for you to narrow it down and come in after half the work is done, I mean, after everybody.
No, Cam. I'm just an expert on what's going on at this time of the year and year. You're still kind of learning the ropes. I'm trying to bring you along as quickly as I can, but hopefully, we get on board on the same page eventually.
I said I'm learning the ropes. Well, we're gonna see what's going down because we're gonna talk about the NBA third season getting underway. Like I said, we had boxing. It was a big boxing weekend. We had UFC going on, so it was a big combat sports weekend. We're gonna talk about those matchups. See how many of those matchups Cleveland caught. And as I mentioned, the Baltimore Ravens, they brought in a wide receiver to try to lure in their quarterback. Let's see if it works. We're gonna talk about that. I want to get Cleveland. He already told us last week it wouldn't work. Let's see if he changed his mind now that the deal is done. Again, we got the NFL offseason, a lot of things going on to talk about. And then Cleveland Tiger Woods out there looking like Willie Mays. Can't find the ball in the air in the center field, running around chasing the ball after it hits the ground. I don't know what you call it, the Masters, but Tigers, you've done enough, Tiger. you've done enough. I don't think you walking around struggling to get on and off the cart and get to the ball and to the tee is. I don't think you want to do that. So we're gonna talk about that too. I want to get your feedback on that. But like we do each and every show, we've done Cleveland for now 236 weeks of this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Cleveland, it is April 11th, 2023. Damn, you're old, Cleveland. 2023, week 236. Cleveland, when you think of the number 11, who wore that number the best? Or who first come to your mind when you think of that number? Uno.
It's Isaiah Thomas and Isaiah Thomas.
You know Edgar Martinez?
No.
Do you know who Edgar is?
Do you know who Isaiah Thomas is?
Edgar might be the second player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a Seattle Mariner? Is he the first or the second?
Isn't Isaiah Thomas one of the top 5 greatest point guards to ever play basketball?
He might be.
Okay.
He might be.
Okay.
When you think of the number 36, week 236 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, what do you think of the number 36? Who wore that number the best? Or who come to your mind first?
Again, unanimous. Jerome Bettis. The bus.
Again, I'm gonna ask you about a Mariner. I thought you was a Mariner guy over there. Yeah, Gaylord Perry. You remember Gaylord with would he have the little pad, scruffing pad in his back pocket with the emery board in the back pocket? Wasn't that Gaylord Perry?
You just said the bus, right? I said the bus. You said Gaylord Perry. So
Timmy Smith, come on, Timmy Smith. You don't remember Timmy Smith?
Oh, I sure do.
Put up 200.
He's a Super Bowl MVP. Great.
Good Did they give him the MVP? Did he?
Bus want me money. Plus, he's top 10 all time and yards. And he got a ring. So
there you go. You're a little biased.
He's a good guy. Met him in Vegas on numerous occasions. One of the coolest cats you ever want to meet.
Oh, he won you money. You didn't have to say no more after that. Your decision. Any question that ends with Jerome Bettis, you gonna end it with Jerome Bettis, huh?
Well, I mean, he did win me some cheese. So,
well, Cleveland, last week you told us flirting around with Odell Beckham would not lure Lamar Jackson into camp. Now that they got the deal done with Odell, you see Lamar and Odell kicking it at the club in Miami, South Beach. Do you think Lamar is coming into camp?
Haven't seen him yet. Have you, Cam?
What's that?
I said I haven't seen him yet. Have you?
Well, he hasn't signed anything. But
okay. So then, the signing of Odell Beckham Jr. has not led to the signing of Lamar Jackson, which is what I said earlier.
I mean, I don't know what the weather's like up there in the Northwest, but they probably running
Cold and
routes.
rainy.
South.
It's cold and rainy.
In Miami, they can run routes. They can put on their shorts and tank
That's
tops.
cool. That's great.
Routes and get some.
Last I
rhythm.
checked, Lamar Jackson was not under contract by the Baltimore Ravens, so
Well, he has-
franchise tag on him. I mean, that's great, but I mean,
He's over there-
he doesn't have to be
he's over
doing
there,
anything.
if you will. He has the 10 weeks to sign their deal. He's like their property for the next 10 weeks starting the season.
Okay, wow.
So he really don't have to
tough
do
way of
nothing.
looking at it, Cam. Yeah, he's their property for the next 10 weeks.
I mean, that's kind of the way it is. And he needs to play. He needs to play 6 games to get like this season under, to get acknowledged for a complete season. So he'll be there. It's whether how happy he'll be when he's there. But now he has somebody to kind of throw to. You don't like that? You've been Odell Beckham since the untimed and misread pass he caught from Eli Manning that went viral. You've been an Odell Beckham man, claiming he was the best, this and that, claiming he was the best. If I remember correctly, you said he was the best coming out of LSU. Now you're poo-pooing the signing of Lamar. You're just poo-pooing the signing of Odell Beckham for Lamar Jackson.
Cam, that was 16 years ago, man. That was 2006 or 7 that happened.
Well, he just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, wasn't it? 2 or 3 years ago. He
played no games last year, right? And only like 3 or 4 games a year before that.
He was saving his strength. He was saving his strength to get stronger.
Oh, for now, to go to Baltimore and play in the winter cold. Oh, okay, cool. See how that works.
Yeah, no. So who don't you have faith in? Let's get this clear. Let's get this on record, fans. Who does Cleveland not have faith in? Is it Lamar Jackson or is it Odell Beckham Jr.?
Well, I think it's a combination of the two, Cam.
No. What do you mean it's a combination of the two?
I mean, if we're putting one of the
Lamar
other,
Jackson can do. You see what Lamar Jackson can do.
If we're putting on one or the other,
the MVP, the former MVP of the NFL. You seen what Lamar Jackson can do. The former MVP of the NFL, Mr. Hype Odell Beckham, is hyped up in Cleveland. Hyped up as a Giant, hyped up in Cleveland, hyped up as a Ram. Won a Super Bowl, but he got hurt. He was on his way to a Super Bowl MVP, wasn't he? Potentially. Got injured, blew out his knee, and he's been rebuilding ever since. So I want you to tell the fans, Cleveland, who, since you say it's not going to work, since you're such a pessimist in this situation, saying it's not going to work in the cold in Baltimore and the offense they run and Lamar Jackson's limitations. I want you to tell the fans today who you have less faith in, Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, or Odell Beckham, the receiver who you applauded for the last 10 or 13 years.
Less faith in Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow. Well, how quickly we changed our minds, man. Let me go find some footage of you drooling over Odell when he was with the Rams, cutting up the Seahawks. Let me go find that footage.
2003, 2004. Yeah, you can find that. Footage.
The Buccaneers is going through their little uprising now. They signed Chase Edmonds. What do you think that does to them? But then I think more importantly, Devin White recently requested trade. I think that's kind of more important than actually signing Chase Edmonds. What do you think?
Absolutely. Chase Edmonds is not an answer to anybody's running game. So if you're losing Fournette and replacing him with Edmonds, I mean, comparable productivity perhaps, but maybe not.
What do you think of it? Devin White is John Pete. You heard them dialing down there to Tampa. I think 904.
They know the 206 is. They can always call the line's always open, man. We're always open to conversation up here. You know how we do. Yeah.
The Lions trade their former number 3 pick overall from Ohio State University, send him to the Falcons for a 5th round pick. Now this guy was just drafted like 2 years ago. How quickly is that the Falcons being hungry or the Lions recognizing that it's a bad move right there?
Lions recognizing it was a bad move. It's a new regime that has a different set of expectation and criteria for who's really good and who's really not. And hey, man, he doesn't fit the program.
And all they got was a 5th round pick. Hopefully they got something else. That was the highest pick. I don't know. That's kind of questionable. The Cardinals HC Gannon said he wants to do what's best for DeAndre Hopkins. I heard rumors of DeAndre Hopkins actually lining up on the opposite side of Odell Beckham. Did that put fear in you? If you got Odell Beckham on one side, DeAndre Hopkins on the other side?
Man, Cameron, nah, man. That's two cats that are from the South that like really.
You don't want neither. Wait. You just told me you guys was flirting with DeAndre Hopkins last week. The Seahawks.
We are. It's not nearly as cold in the winter in Seattle as it is in Baltimore, man. Ooh, it's cold.
Both of you guys on the water. What you talking about? Both of you, they both playing on the water, regardless.
I'm so sorry. You think it's as cold in Seattle as it is in Baltimore in the winter?
It's equal. There's frost outside. You got to straight
that, Playboy.
It's equal. Let me tell you.
No, it's not. It's way colder in Baltimore. It snows in Baltimore.
Okay, so listen to me. You got you don't like that combination of Hopkins and Odell Beckham Jr.?
It's great. They were in Arizona, but they're in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson coming to them.
So you just keep dogging what do we do with Lamar Jackson? You got to trade him? You got to send him to Arizona for anything to work? What do you do with Lamar Jackson?
I mean, as we said, as we spoke about this earlier, I think his best landing spot is the 49ers, but he's not there. I think his second best landing spot is the New York Jets. He's not there.
So what do the Ravens do? If you're the Ravens, you just say in the weather, screw it, we're just a running team.
We got to franchise him. I mean, you get those guys, and you hope that they can have the same impact that they've had for previous teams, but not really.
Are you looking for just another Jerome Lewis? Willis Lewis ran for 2,000 yards.
Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis. Are you just looking for another Jamal Lewis? Is that what
you're looking for? Some balance. You're looking for some cohesion in the offense. You're looking for some.
But you just shit on. I just gave you two guys. You just you shit on Odell Beckham Jr. You say you don't have no faith in him. Then I give you Hopkins. You have no faith.
What I said, Cameron, is that they're old and they're going to a cold weather team. If they were old and they were going to the Los Angeles Chargers, I'd be like, ooh, let's get excited. They're going to the cold.
Wait, you would get excited if you were the Chargers and they would get Odell Beckham Jr. or Hopkins? Why would you get excited over those guys? I don't get it. So you're saying the cold, they just can't play in the cold.
They will not reach their maximum potential playing in the cold from late October, all the way through to wherever they go. No.
So if you're Baltimore Ravens, what type of receiver are you looking for, Cleveland? If your criteria,
younger, can play in the cold, hasn't had as many injuries as those two players. Those two receivers have had a multitude of injuries the last 3 years. So
is it age that you're saying they can't play in the cold, or is it their skill and ability that limits their production in the cold? Which one is it?
Their age limits their production in the cold.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. I'm just have to ask that one for future reference to file that one away.
Mm-hmm.
File that one away. Mark Ingram, one of the most interesting conversations, it was one of the initial conversations I had once I made this foray into the reporting industry was talking to Mark Ingram. It was a year that your guy, the running back number 28. How am I having a brain fart? Adrian Peterson. It was a year that Adrian Peterson signed with the New Orleans Saints. And they had a joint practice with the aforementioned Chargers in LA. And I got to talk to Mark. I actually got to talk to Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson after the practice, and all rumors are true about Adrian Peterson and his handshake. I kind of I wasn't thinking about the story of his infamous grip when I stuck out my hand to shake his hand. So he got me. He got to put those vice grips on me. I wasn't thinking about it. Was one of those ones where I wanted to double shake his hand and grip him back. Like I got him too. But after somebody gets you in that first grip, you kind of lost that handshake, right? You can't really double back. And he got me.
Can't start over.
I was damn. He got me on that one. I was kind of frustrated with that one. Nonetheless, I asked at the time. I mean, Mark Ingram wasn't too far off a Heisman Trophy, winning the Heisman Trophy, and he was the bell cow for the Saints. Coming off his best season, I believe. And then they signed Adrian Peterson. They must have signed him a week or two before. And so my question, Ingram, was, how do you feel about the signing? Like, was there frustration there because he had his best season? That's kind of what I expected there to be, some frustration, because then they go out and sign Adrian Peterson. Now, Adrian Peterson at the time, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Cleveland, he was coming off of the situation where he was suspended for some games, played a couple games for Minnesota. His contract was expired. They didn't re-sign him, so he was looking for a team to go, and the Saints picked him up. I think that's a scenario. So he missed a season and a half, played a half a season, and then the Saints picked him up. If I'm mistaken, or if I'm not mistaken, that's how the scenario went. But you knew at the time, Adrian Peterson, more than likely you were expecting him to take most of the carries, because you're expecting, although it wasn't the season before, but that's Adrian Peterson. And though he hadn't played, he was healthy. There was no rust. You expected Adrian Peterson to take a bulk of the carries when he signed with the New Orleans Saints. You didn't expect him to be a backup at that time. And my question to Mark Ingram was like, tell me your thoughts on what this situation, having them sign him after coming off of your best season. And he was like, well, having two backs in the backfield, that's going to preserve us both for long term. I'm thinking he's going to be upset about this. There's going to be something there, some tension or something. He's like, no, it's going to preserve my career. Not only I don't have to take all these carries, but now I got the team has somebody they can depend on. I was like, that's a very smart, intelligent outlook. Right now, he's just in an article I read earlier today, he's crediting splitting backfields because, then he was with 43. Why can't I remember these guys' names right now tonight? What's 41? Not 43, 41. Kamara. Yeah, so now he split time with Alvin Kamara for a while. So that does make a lot of sense. Cleveland, which do you prefer? Would you prefer the one bell cow back that you can give the ball to 350 times a season, or would you prefer the split backfield where you're splitting those 400 carries between two backs? Which, if you're designing a team, Cleveland, which do you prefer?
Bell cow, Cam. We're giving the ball number 27 every time. We're giving the ball number 29 every time. We're giving the ball number 22 every time. We're giving the ball number 32 every time.
But you see, okay, so I mean, I can see the difference. I can see the benefits of both. But you see, when Bill Parcells brought in Dave Meggett to kind of help out Joe Morris, like that changed the game. Because now you got
he brought him in to help out Joe Morris. He didn't bring him in to help out Eric Dickerson. He didn't bring him in to help out O.J. Simpson. He didn't bring him in to help out Jim Brown. He didn't bring him in to help out Walter Payton. He didn't bring him in to help out Earl Campbell or Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith or Adrian Peterson.
Okay, I got you. I feel you. I mean, there ain't no argument for that. I'm trying to think now shuffle through my head right now. Who was the best part-time running back right now? And I'm like, outside of Bo Jackson, like I'm really struggling to Emmitt Smith had Moose, right? Daryl Johnston.
That's a fullback, man. That's not.
I'm just trying to think of somebody else. I'm just trying to think of somebody else. I'm just trying to think. Barry didn't have. There was nobody else for Barry, right? There was nobody else for Dickerson. Like there was, like you say, he brought him in for Joe Morris. Now you slamming Joe Morris. Joe Morris ran for 1,200 yards. I don't know. What
he sure did.
Back when 1,000 yards meant something. But yeah, I mean, the advent of by Bill Parcells bringing in the scat back, though, that kind of changed the game. You know, unless you got Marshall Faulk, man, you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I didn't get to Marshall Faulk or Adrian or Clinton Portis, man. No, man, keep giving the ball to that guy.
He's not buying it at all. He's not buying it, and I'm not mad at it either. I mean, because I can understand. I can understand it 100%. All right, Cleveland, we're looking at the draft right now. We got the draft is next week, right? Is the draft?
No, we got a couple weeks, Cam.
You sure?
Man. You sure? 27th, I think.
27th next week is it? Okay. We got 2 weeks.
Yeah,
okay,
a couple weeks, man. Slow down.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what's going down. I'm trying to figure what's out. Because we know Bryce Young is going number 1, right? We know Bryce Young.
No, we don't know that at all. I thought it was CJ Stroud.
I mean, you keep saying CJ, man. I just can't get CJ's last game out of my head where he couldn't get it done at the end of the game. I just can't get that out of my head.
CJ's last game is when he put up with 42, right? On Georgia.
Oh, I remember they needed him to score a touchdown for them to win, and he couldn't get it done.
Way back when. Okay, did you see his pro day, or some of his other throws?
I mean, I watched the game, bro. I watched the game.
That one time at band camp.
One game against the toughest talent he played in his all season long.
Okay, yeah, well, sure. I thought the toughest talent was the national champion. And he put 42 on him, but up to you, man. It's neither here nor there. Not a great quarterback draft, so what they get is what they get. So,
CJ, who's going to have the better season, the better career? You think? We understand either one of them is going to go. They're going to go 1 and 2, right? CJ and CJ Stroud and Young, right? They're going to go 1 and 2. We can agree on that. So, if CJ goes to Carolina, Young goes to Houston, who's going to have a better career?
CJ Stroud will have the better career, regardless of where he goes.
CJ, wow. So CJ is better than quarterback, hands down, is what you're saying.
And he's bigger.
And he's bigger at Cleveland. You just raved about a quarterback for 11 years that was a
way thicker, way more durable than Bryce Young's frame and stature. Bryce Young is more similar to Kyler Murray than he is to Russell Wilson.
So Stroud, because of his size, is going to have a bigger career. Is that what we're breaking it down to?
Well, he'll have an opportunity. How you feel about Tua down there in 305? You don't speak too highly of him.
What that? What's Tua?
A little smaller, and Tua is a little bigger than Bryce Young, right?
I'm not sure what Tua has to do with this conversation. Like we're
talking about what Tua has to do with this conversation is the durability factor with regards to a quarterback. So who's going to have the better career? The quarterback that has the opportunity to be durable for longer, which is CJ Stroud, and he throws better. So, but we'll see. It hasn't played out yet. That's just my prediction.
Okay, I mean that's what I'm asking because I don't believe C.J. Stroud's gonna have a better career than Bryce Young, and not that Bryce Young is gonna be great, but I don't know how Tua falls into the conversation. Bryce Young
Tua falls in the conversation that he's a small quarterback that gets hurt a lot, and I think that Bryce Young is going to fall in that same category. A small quarterback that gets hurt a lot.
We've seen Tua get hurt in college, though. We haven't seen that out of Bryce Young, have we? Have we seen?
No, not yet. I believe he missed a couple of games last year, but I mean nothing major.
Right, exactly. But Tua has major injuries, so I don't understand how Tua comes.
Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure which offensive line you have more confidence in, the Carolina Panthers or the Houston Texans, but he's going to take a beating.
Yeah. I mean, they both probably need some work. That's why they're drafting 1 and 2 respectively. But what happens at number 3? What do the Cardinals do at number 3? Do they trade back? Do they take Will Anderson? What do they do at number 3? What's your thoughts?
It all depends on who moves up to entice them to get that draft pick.
Should they move it to what you call it? The Colts move one back because the Colts is going to take a quarterback. Do you trade it to the Colts or do you get a bigger deal and move further back and not get Will Anderson?
It depends on who your trade partners are. It depends on how desperately they want that quarterback, that next one after Bryce and CJ. It's too early to tell.
I mean, we're a couple of weeks away from the action, man. You kind of got to know what you're going to
do. You don't got to know until draft day what they're going to say.
Okay, so what would you do if you were the Cardinals? Would you wait for the biggest?
I would trade it if you gave me 2 firsts and 2 seconds for the 3. You can have it. I'll go all the way back to 10 for that.
You go all the way back to 10
for 2 firsts and 2 seconds for that pick? Oh, for sure.
Who's at 9? Somebody's at 9. Who's at 9? They were gonna I think who's at 9 was offering. Look it up for me. Who's at 9? They were offering the number 9 pick, and next year's number 1. So would that be enough for you? If you got the number 9 and next year's number 1, would that be enough for you to move out of the top?
No.
That's 2 number 1s. That's 2 number 1s right there.
The Bears have moved back to 9.
The Bears are at 9. So okay. Well, there you go. Would you do that? No, they couldn't be.
The Bears don't need a quarterback, so they're not going to trade. So it's not the 9 pick.
I thought it was a 9 pick. The Bears wouldn't be doing that. Nonetheless.
So no. Give me a 1 and 3 2s or 2 2s. I mean, look what Trey Lance got, right?
I mean, that's a crazy deal and he's a bomb though. Dolphins got over on that one.
Not a bomb just yet, but I mean, that's the going rate. Right?
He's not even a starter. So we got NFL.com, their top 5 goes Young, Stroud, Anderson, Richardson, and then have the Seahawks drafting T. Wilson, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech, I think it is. How you like that? You like that Texas? You like that edge rusher?
Safer. I mean, obviously, the bigger risk to reward is Jalen Carter.
Then they have coming back and taking Hendon Hooker at number 20. What do you think of Hooker at number 20?
Been hearing more and more about that, man. And I saw his his little Manning camp thing. He's seems to fit here. It seems like he would fit here.
Oh, look at
I don't know how it is. I'm not ready to no.
Last week it was a no, absolutely. But
I still feel no. I feel a little closer, like, oh, I see what cats are talking about, but no, I
Oh,
don't.
he's warming up. He's
I
warming
don't want
up.
him at 20, man. I want him second, third round. Yeah,
He ain't gonna be there. He's not gonna be there in the second round.
first pick. We have the second pick in the second round, don't we? Or fifth pick in the
He's
second
not
round.
gonna be there. At number, if he's there at number 20, you're gonna be lucky.
It wouldn't break my heart if Hendon Hooker wasn't there and we had to pick somebody else dominant and then get a quarterback next year. Wouldn't hurt my feelings, man.
What do you mean
Truthfully.
dominant at number 20, man? Dominant at number 20?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bucky Brooks had you guys taking Carter at number 5, Richardson at number 20.
Ooh. If that works out, Cameron, wow.
You like that? You like Carter anyway. That's you've been dropping salt on his name all off season.
Oh my goodness! I mean, picture this draft, Cam. Carter at 5, Richardson falls to us at 20, and Bijan falls to us in the second round with the the first pick of the second round. I mean, is it Christmas out here? Is it Christmas in April?
Bijan is gone in the top 10. Hey, the Bears will take Bijan at number 9. The Bears should take him at number 9. Come on, stop it.
Bears have other areas to address.
What's the friend of
other needs?
What's the best friend of a quarterback?
Strong running game, Cam.
There you go. But why would you go anywhere else? You need a running
Well, because
game.
it's a top 10 pick, and you can get that. You can get that in second, fourth, fifth, eighth round.
How you gonna get that in the second round? You're scheming to get him in the first with your number 3.
No. The second pick. The first pick in the second round, which is like the 5th pick in the second round.
Pro Football Network, PFF, has the Hawks taking Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback, at number 5, and trading out of the number 20 pick. So they only make that first pick. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, they don't know the Seahawks. It would be the other way around for sure. They would trade out of the 5 before they ever traded out of the 20. 5 gets you all kinds of picks, really, really high for a long time. Trade out of the 20 gets you some picks. If they want to come to 5, you better come with the County Monte Cristo deal, man. Just dump the wheelbarrow with the gold out, man.
Mel Kiper Jr. has Young going first, Stroud 2, Richardson 3. The Kentucky quarterback going number 4, and Carter going to Seahawks at number 5.
Although I think that we would take Will Anderson if they were both available.
Yeah, Will Anderson looked like a beast, man. He looked more beastie in my eyes. I don't know about what you've seen, but Will Anderson looks more beastie than any of these quarterbacks. But Hendon Hooker, man, if he fell to number 20, that would be if you had Bijan and Hooker at number 20. I don't know which direction you go. I don't know. I don't know which direction you go, really, because then that would give you.
I mean, we had to look at the board, man. Bijan or Hooker at 20, it's a little high for both of them, man. Would much rather have them at that.
Won't be there. Bijan won't be there. Number 1, and Bijan won't be there, and then Hooker. I mean, you need to. He's not. He has better size than.
Cam, we don't know what that knee looks like. I mean, we know he's a great character dude, and I would love to have that kind of a pick in the second round.
We don't know what the knee looks like. He's already shooting at him already. He's already shooting at him already.
Did he not have a torn anterior cruciate ligament, or am I making that up?
Yeah, the injury, man. But the modern medicine is such. Modern medicine is such that these guys can come back nowadays. He had the best money. He played for Tennessee, the Tennessee Volunteers. Have you ever been to Tennessee, Cleveland? Have you ever been to Tennessee?
I have been in Nashville.
I think. Ooh, Rui just trying to dunk on somebody. Rui really trying to take somebody's heart right now. I'm not sure. Have you been to Tennessee though, Cleveland? I think
Nashville, yes.
I think you have to get your face painted orange when you drive through Tennessee. When you drive through Tennessee, I think you have to get your face painted orange. So to be quarterback of the Tennessee Volunteers, Cleveland, I mean that's SEC football, bro. That's not.
And that's great, Cam. And I wish the best for the kid. And if he's around in the second round, man, let's go ahead and experiment.
He called him experiment. Woo. All right, Cleveland, let's get to it, man. It's the third season of NBA. It's the third season of NBA right now. We have the regular season. Then you have after, you have, the playoff push. And now we're here at the playoffs, play-in game, but it's playoffs, it's postseason. So Cleveland, just take a look at our predictions from earlier this year. Starting the season, Cleveland, way back in July, actually, last year. I had the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers going to the NBA Finals. I had called that in July. Well, we've seen Brooklyn disintegrate. We've seen the Clippers suffer through injuries.
Trials and tribulations, Cam. Trials and tribulations.
So February of this year, just a couple months ago, amended my pick. It was only fair that I get to amend my pick, considering the trade that went down that sent Brooklyn, half the team to Brooklyn basically disbanded their squad, right? For all intents and purposes, they blew up their squad. Sent Kyrie, sent half of them to Dallas, the other half to Phoenix. It really wasn't the team I counted on. So, executive decision, I amended my pick, and I picked the Milwaukee Bucks to face the Los Angeles Clippers in the 2023 NBA Finals. That was my prediction just as a couple months ago. Fans, Cleveland, in October, I don't know why I don't have a July pick for you, but in October 2023, Cleveland, you took half of my prediction by picking the Bucks, and then you picked the Warriors. And Cleveland, in December 2022, both those teams, you were out on both of those guys, the Nuggets and the Bucks, or the Warriors and the Bucks, excuse me, because you amended your pick to take in the Nuggets and the Celtics. Who the Celtics, by the way, fans, may I add that Cleveland had them falling off. At the start of the season, had them not repeating as Eastern Conference champions. And even midway through the season, when they jumped out to a number one Eastern Conference pace, people said they were going to fall off. And did you say they're not going to make the playoffs?
No, I said no such thing, Cam. Come on now. Come on.
I mean, you said they're going to fall off. You said
they weren't going to make the playoffs. Come on, man. Why are you trying to add stuff to it, man?
I'm just asking a question. What you said?
Okay, well, why are you asking that question? That's what I'm asking.
That sounds like
I said nothing of the sort.
All right, a couple things you want to look at from midway through the season. I think I asked you this question. You said you were concerned with Denver's health, right? You went to see if what's my point guard's name could come back healthy, Murray, right? Has he been healthy? What do you see?
Murray's been healthy. Porter Jr.'s been fairly healthy. Joker's been playing MVP caliber basketball.
So you're confident in the Denver Nuggets making the NBA Finals?
Well, Cam, this is it. Cam, why don't you go ahead and hand me the keys here right quick? Okay, can you throw me the keys? Just fling them to me.
There you go.
All right, cool. I got the keys now. Okay, cool. I got the keys. That's right. Okay, fans, this is my time of the year. Okay, this is the time that Cam doesn't really understand because he tries to add a few too many things to the equation, and I always have to simplify it right around this time of the year. Okay, fans, once the playoffs start, we have three types of teams. Okay, We have the first timers. Those are the teams that are just really, really happy to be there. And oh my gosh, somehow by luck or by health or by whatever, or just us all playing together and having a perfect confluence of events, we made the playoffs. And man, let's just see what we can do. And let's just continue to ride this whole thing out and see where we end up. Okay. The second criteria is the usual suspects. They've been to the playoffs a few times. They've had multiple all-star appearances. They may have even had a USA basketball team appearance or two. Just haven't quite been able to crack through to that upper tier where you get championships and validations and whatnot. Usual suspects. Then there is that third tier, which I like to constantly remind Cameron of. They're called basketball gods. And those are the ones that win championships. Now, the difference is once the playoffs start, there's an opportunity for the first timers or the usual suspects to crack that code and get to be a basketball god. Now, let's just say, for example, cats that usually first timers that break it are like Irvin Magic Johnson. His first time out, oh yeah, I just went and got a championship. Larry Bird is second time out. Shaq and Penny, third year, second year, got to the NBA Finals. I mean, those kind of things happen here and there. Very rare. Usually it's those usual suspects that have just had enough and they're going to do whatever it takes to get the championship, that breakthrough. But more times than not, it's the basketball gods that just ascend and announce their presence of authority and swoop down, take the trophy, and fly off. Back up into the stratosphere where basketball gods live.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
All right. So now that we got Cleveland, he explained his criteria, how he's broken down the NBA, the playoff competitors into 3 different categories. That's
correct.
Interesting. Because now we're going to go through the list.
Yes.
And I want to know who's gods, who's suspects, who's first timers.
You want to go Eastern Conference or Western Conference? You want me to read it or you want to read it? I don't care which way it goes.
So let's go play in tournament first. Let's go play in tournament. Let's start there. Since they're, we need those guys to decide what they're doing to get to the full.
Let's start there. Okay.
So Miami just lost to the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
I mean, Miami is a
usual suspects. Usual suspects.
Been there, right?
No basketball gods and no first timers. Usual suspects.
The Hawks are usual suspects.
Ice Trae went to the Eastern Conference Finals. DeJounte, this will be his first time. Capella's been there before. Usual suspects.
Toronto champions.
Siakam, I don't believe he was a big contributor on that team, and maybe not even on that team.
Fred VanVleet, champion.
Okay, usual suspect. Then we'll give him that.
Usual suspect. They're champions. They just won a championship in 2019. What are you talking about?
VanVleet is not a basketball god. He's not leading that team to a championship. We're to that time of the year, Cam. Yeah, it gets real strict.
So even if you have a ring, even if you have a recent ring, that doesn't.
Oh yeah. Oh no. If you were just a contributor on a team that had a basketball god, for example, Kawhi Leonard was the basketball god on that team that won the championship. Yeah, you don't get the residual of what the basketball god did. No. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Would you repeat who was a basketball god on the spot?
Kawhi Leonard was the basketball god on that team.
Interesting. I think that was the first positive thing you said about Kawhi Leonard in 6 years.
Said plenty of positive things about Kawhi.
That might be the first positive comment we've heard coming out of your mouth about Kawhi Leonard in the 6 years.
Okay.
So Chicago Bulls.
No basketball gods.
I mean, they're not. You can't say usual suspects either, can you?
Nope. First timers. I guess DeMar DeRozan's been there a few times, but yeah, this is a hodgepodge group of people. They're not going to do nothing.
A hodgepodge group of people. Okay, so the Milwaukee Bucks, what are they?
Oh, basketball gods. They have a basketball god on their team, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What are the Boston Celtics?
Usual suspects. No basketball gods as of yet.
What is Jason Tatum?
He's a usual suspect.
What is Brown?
Usual suspect, man.
They were just in the NBA Finals.
I know, and they didn't win. Usual suspects.
I mean, you wouldn't even give them credit if they won. You
of course I would. He would be a basketball god if he won a championship.
Toronto gets no credit for winning the finals, just being in the finals.
For the record, fans, if Jason Tatum wins a championship, he is a basketball god.
Oh my goodness. Philadelphia 76ers.
Usual suspects.
They have potentially 2 MVPs. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks, but they have potentially 2 NBA MVPs on their team. And you're talking about usual suspects?
Neither one of them have ever been to a conference final, and they have not won anything. They're not basketball gods.
Stop using winning as a criteria. I just gave you Toronto.
No, that's what makes you a basketball god, because you win an NBA championship.
I just gave you Toronto Raptors.
Fred and they had a basketball god on their team. Did they not?
But they still, the Raptors, Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam contributors on that team. They won champions.
Just because you're on a team that has a basketball god on it doesn't make you a basketball god. Just means that you reap the benefits of being on a team with a basketball god. So Fred VanVleet gets the residual benefits of playing with Kawhi Leonard. Doesn't make him a basketball god by any stretch of the imagination.
So this is so funny. This is so hysterical. I don't know where this little breakdown came from, but I haven't heard this BS.
It's always been here. You just have been very reluctant to listen. I don't understand. This is not new news.
So the Detroit Pistons, who won the NBA championship in 2004, were they first timers? Were they weren't usual suspects? They weren't usual suspects.
I know how you like to go to the anomalies, like the 79 Supersonics and the 2004 Detroit Pistons.
You just told me because
those are the only two, Cameron. Those are the only 2 teams. Fans, and let me be perfectly clear about this.
I'm just perfectly clear. Theory fans, you guys hear it.
Those are the only 2 teams in the last 45 years that have won an NBA championship without one of the 75 greatest players on them. Only 2.
But that does debunk your logic over here. Right?
No, not really, because it's only 2 out of 45 years.
Only 2 out of 45? Wait, so now you want to put Kawhi Leonard in the basketball god category? You've been shitting on Kawhi for the last 6 years.
I have not been shitting on Kawhi. I just said he hasn't been available, and that's not a lie.
I'm trying to think. Toronto is the only one I can think of. Dallas Mavericks, Dirk. He was a god. He was a first timer. That was his only championship, and you calling him
Ken, how many times do we have to do this exercise? I will do it as many times as you want to do it, and I will take it back as far as you want to understand. You want to go back to 90?
No, Dirk was 10 years ago.
Cam will take
Dirk.
Dirk's a basketball god. He's the 3rd leading scorer in the history of the NBA. What are you
He's
talking
been
about?
in one finals. He's been in one NBA finals.
Been a 2. He's won 1.
All right. So we're gonna have to put a cap on that one. But let's go through the Western Conference since Cleveland. Since I'm just so disappointed in this logic that Cleveland's bringing up here, and
I know it hurts because it's just so factual and it's just so poignant and it's just so like it's never really other than the 2004 Pistons and the 79 Sonics, it's always come to fruition all the way down the line. But back to the Western Conference. We're on the West, right?
We're on the Western Conference. So if I understand you correctly through your little NBA playoff breakdown, in the Eastern Conference, there's only 1-2 teams that can win the Eastern Conference, according to what you're telling me. According to this BS you come up with.
3.
Who's the third team? We got Milwaukee, Boston, and who else?
The Sixers.
You just told me how the Sixers were garbage because neither one of the 2 future MVPs have won anything. You just told me they're did you even have them usual suspects or did you have first timers?
No, usual suspects. So they have the opportunity to win. They just have to show something that they haven't shown before.
That's a yes. Let's not have you know that. So Brooklyn, what do you have? How do you have them ranked? Brooklyn,
they have no chance to win a championship.
No, but how are they first timers? Are they usual suspects? What do you ranking the Brooklyn Nets?
Oh, kind of first timers. I mean, that's kind of again another hodgepodge group of some people that maybe have been to the playoffs before, but a lot of people that are just getting their first chance at really being the focal point of the offense. I mean, they got Bridges and Dinwiddie and Ben Simmons, maybe Seth Curry's been doing some things, Joe Harris, so they've been in the playoffs. So maybe more along the lines of the usual suspects than first timers. I give them more usual suspect status.
And Cleveland Cavaliers,
usual suspects. Donovan Mitchell's their best player. Bring in some some youthful guys in there for the first time. Tussle around with the Knicks for a minute and see what happens.
And the New York Knicks.
Yeah, Julius and Jalen Brunson came in to solidify the offense a little bit established, which he has done. Great job to him. Hey man, they're a 5th seed. Mm-hmm.
Let's start this with the Western Conference, Cleveland, the same BS logic. Fans, I'm sorry. I don't know if we're boring you, if I'm losing fans. Chime in. Let me know what you think of this ranking that Cleveland has come up with out of nowhere. We've been doing this show, fans, for over 10 years. I've never heard of this malarkey in 10 years. But, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's on point. He's confident, at least in what he's saying. I don't know if that I agree with it, but he's confident in what he's saying. So let's go through the Western Conference and let Cleveland tell us what these teams are. These teams first timers, usual suspects, and basketball gods. And he's broken it down to say, like, only basketball gods have the opportunity to win championships. Because it's only happened how many times, Cleveland, in the last?
No. That's not what I said. I said everyone has the opportunity to win the championship, but this is the criteria that they fall under, and only basketball gods win championships. So if you are a first timer and you win a championship, like Magic Johnson 1980, you ascend to basketball god status. If you're a usual suspect, like Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994, you ascend to basketball god status. So everybody has an opportunity to do that. There just are certain teams that already have a basketball god on them. Then there are certain teams that have a player that has always been trying to break through and has never been quite able to do it. And then there are some teams that just have, wow, we're here, let's see what we can do type of attitude.
And now we're going through the Western Conference.
And now we're going through the West with that same criteria.
Number 10, Oklahoma City Thunder.
First timers.
Fair enough. New Orleans Pelicans.
Usual suspects.
Usual suspects. Who?
CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram and Valanciunas and usual suspects.
I don't know that they've been in playoffs enough to say
They was in the playoffs last year. Usual suspects. They back.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Usual suspects. This ain't their first time. They was there last year.
Minnesota Timberwolves with 6:14 to go in the first half. Minnesota Timberwolves are up on the Lakers 44-38 as Anthony Davis just drops in a free throw. 6 minutes to go in the first half. Minnesota Timberwolves up 44-38 over the Los Angeles Lakers in the Crypto.com arena in downtown Los Angeles. And playing game. And just so happens the Los Angeles Lakers. Are you first timers?
No, basketball gods on that team.
Basketball gods.
Yeah.
Where did they do last season? Did they make the playoffs last season?
Well, the King LeBron James plays for that team and has been to and went to the championship 8 consecutive years and has 4 NBA championships.
You just didn't give me any credit when I told you what the teams has done in the last few years. I tried to tell you Toronto Raptors won a championship 3 years ago. And you told me, "Oh, that's good." Now you want to go back in history?
They did. They won a championship with a basketball god on it, and that basketball god is gone. So they don't have any basketball gods on their team because they don't have any chance of winning the championship this year.
So the basketball gods are in the playing tournament. What a terrible season that is been for them. Your basketball god squad are in the playing tournament. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Correct. Yes.
Sounds like a little favoritism and bias from a bandwagon Laker fan to me fans. Let's go to number 5 team.
No, we're number 6. So let's not shortchange anybody. Number 6.
Golden State Warriors.
Basketball gods on that team.
Gods.
Defending NBA champions. Yeah, basketball gods on that team.
The number 5 team and future 2003 NBA champions, Los Angeles Clippers.
Well, they have a basketball god on their team. His name is Kawhi Leonard.
Wow, that is the most praise you gave Ballmer and the Clippers. That's the most praise I've heard.
That person don't know football then.
That's the most praise we've heard since.
You look like a buffoon.
I'm blowing it. I'm a little blowing it right now.
God bless Mr. Ballmer.
That's been the most praise since we had the Cleveland say this.
God bless Mr. Ballmer.
Number 4, Phoenix Suns.
They have a basketball god on their team. His name is Kevin Durant.
He's been there 2 weeks.
He's still a basketball god.
Number 3, Sacramento Kings.
First timers, happy to be there. We'll see what they can do.
Number 2, Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, usual suspects. We'll see if they can crack through the second round, maybe a conference final.
And just like that, 44-43, the Los Angeles Lakers have narrowed the lead 4 minutes ago in the second half. Just like that, 2 minutes, they changed the momentum and have your boy Reeves making big plays, converting layups. We have the Memphis Grizzlies, you said, are usual suspects. What about the Denver Nuggets?
The same.
The same? So Jokic is not a god? 2 MVPs don't make you a god? 2 NBA MVPs don't make you a god? Like 2 back-to-back?
No.
Wow. What kind of BS is this?
I just explained what the criteria was for being a basketball god. You have to win a championship. He's never won a championship.
Yeah, I just pointed out a team, Cleveland, to just dispel blow up.
You pointed out 2 in the last 45 years. The Seattle Supersonics in '79 and the 2004 Detroit Pistons. You cannot name another team that does not have one of the 75 greatest players on it that has won a championship. Not one.
Is Toronto is Kawhi on the?
Yeah, he's on it.
Which of these matchups are you most looking up to, or most looking forward to in the NBA playoffs? These first round series. Which one are you looking most forward to?
The one I'm looking most forward to is once the can gets past Minnesota, is that Memphis Lakers. Interesting.
Should I go to that, Cleveland? Should I go to that game?
Oh, without question, that game will be off the charts, man. If you get a chance to get to that one, either one of them. Ooh, wee. Lakers are coming to the Kings coming to town, man.
I know. Sunday night in Memphis. Dylan Brooks is talking about he welcomes the key. He's come on, bring it on.
Yeah, man, get your VIP to the Suave House, Tony Draper and them, man. A-Ball and MJG, man, get your thing on, man. Get your Memphis thing on. Have fun. Good barbecue.
Man, I'm seriously considering. That might be a trip I have to make. Like that might have to be.
You said it was close. They seem very hospitable. Those Memphis cats. So yeah,
very hospitable.
Yeah,
this is very welcoming. Actually, very welcoming. Make that trip just to go see what the temperature's like when the king comes to town. See if they can keep up their word. I mean, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one. You're fighting off a legacy. You're fighting off a legacy. You're battling one of the gods, as Cleveland would put it. Trying to prove your stature.
Two of the gods.
Well, I mean, we really don't know who's gonna show up. So we really don't know who's gonna show up and play that game. But they do have one of the gods. I agree to you. They do have one of the gods. Was beating Utah, Cleveland. So I told you I went on my rant a few weeks ago and told you how ashamed of yourselves you Laker fans should have been for cheering on the absurd. It was completely absurd, Cleveland. I hope you would admit that. Jersey retirement for Pau Gasol. And then to see his and then the end all be all. I mean, Pau's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. Pau's a hell of a nice guy. And it's not anything against Pau, but the Lakers were just searching for some type of a bit of success at that moment, something to celebrate because the team was stinking it up, and they're looking for something to celebrate, and they decided to retire Pau Gasol jersey. And at the end of the ceremony, when they do all the niceties and have everybody come out and say something nice about them, when they start hoisting the banner up and wheeling it up, and it goes up. And is hanging in the rafters of Crypto.com Arena next to Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, you Laker fans should have just shook your head. Or somebody should have cut the rope, actually. Somebody should have cut the rope and not let it go up there any further. Because like your man Dion said, at some point, there's going to have to be different colored jerseys or jackets in the Hall of Fame. Everybody that they let in the Hall of Fame is going to have a different colored jacket because they all don't mean the same. So to hang Pau Gasol jersey up there next to some of the greatest that wore the gold and purple was an embarrassing moment for the Lakers. And you Laker fans should admit that. I mentioned it then when it happened. In fact, we were doing a show when it was going on and they did a BS speak for 20 minutes. And here's another thing, fans, that you Laker fans, Cleveland included, main Laker fan didn't decide to call in tonight. He wanted to bother us any other time. Force his way on the show. He didn't no word from MJ Lover. But your man doing a crown move after beating the Utah Jazz to get into the play-in tournament to crown himself, Cleveland. Cleveland, how many people do you know who gave themselves a nickname? Help me out, Cleveland. How many people do you know that gave themselves their own nickname? You
That I
Uncle
know
Simon?
personally, or that I've witnessed through my
elementary
my
school,
vast
middle
illustrious
school,
career of watching sports. Because there's been a lot of people who.
Cleveland. How many people do you personally know that gave themselves their own nickname and it stuck?
Maybe
Yeah,
three.
exactly.
Maybe three.
Three out of the 2 million people that you met in your lifetime, Cleveland. Basically, that's a stupid, dumb move, right? To give your own nickname. Where I'm from, on the other side of Lake Washington, you don't give yourself your own nickname. That's number one. Number two, I don't think did you ever see Jordan put a crown on his head? Fake crown on his head? Did you ever see Kareem do anything like that? Wear a fake crown? And he didn't crown himself after winning a championship. This isn't after his 6, not 7, not 8 championships. This is after a playing game. Or not even a playing game. This is after qualifying for the playing tournament.
Well, Cameron, he hit 3 consecutive 3-pointers in a row to get them to that game. And, I think he's just kind of reiterating what other people have kind of bestowed upon him, which is, the kingship. So he was just kind of, reciprocating what other people were already feeling. So I didn't really feel like he gave himself the name per se. Other people gave him the name. He didn't really start putting the crown on his own head until after breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record. So
shameful. That's shameful. That's my thought on the situation. Shameful for you, LeBron, for trying to crown yourself after beating the Utah Jazz to qualify for the playing tournament. You should have been ashamed of yourself. And Laker fans, you should have been ashamed of yourself for applauding that mess. You should have been ashamed of yourself, Cleveland. Though you'll never admit it, you should have been ashamed of yourself.
Cool with it.
Cleveland, where did the Dallas Mavericks go from here?
Nowhere. They fall apart.
I mean, is Luka on the blocks now? Is Jason Kidd getting fired?
Jason Kidd's getting fired. Luka is.
You can't take Cuban's team from him, but what's going on?
Yeah, Jason Kidd's getting fired. They're not going to re-sign Kyrie, and this will be Luka's last year. Start again, unless yeah. So they have to trade Luka to get something for him. So they don't have nothing.
That's a. Who do you put this on? Do you put it on Cuban? Who's the GM over there?
Put it on Kyrie. Kyrie is always been the wild card, and when it don't work out, then you got to blame the wild card.
They got to trade. They had to trade for Kyrie. Like somebody made that decision. We're gonna go get Kyrie.
They went and traded for Uncle Drew. Unbelievable skills, and then when it didn't work out, that's why it didn't work out.
Rudy Gobert swing on Anderson on the sidelines Sunday night. It was wild Sunday night. We had a couple altercations on the sideline. Do you think Rudy should have been suspended for that?
Yeah, you can't punch it. You can't punch your teammate.
It wasn't really a punch, though. It wasn't him.
Yeah, he punched him.
Draymond Green didn't get suspended. I mean, that
wasn't during a game. That was in practice, and that was not a media covered event.
You think he should have been suspended? I think no big deal. You haven't seen the team, fight and argue and scuffle.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, not on the sidelines. Everybody saw it. It's a game. Can't punch nobody. Can't punch yourself and not get suspended at this point.
Can't punch yourself. That's funny. What do you think about the goofball that punched the wall, Jaden McDaniels?
Oh yeah, I've always thought that about him. He was a Husky over here for a season. He's always kind of been a head case. A lot of athletic abilities, long. can do a few different things kind of good, but yeah, he's always been a head case.
So help me out. The final seconds, Minnesota Timberwolves have went on an 11-2 run in Los Angeles. AD shoots a airball 3-pointer from the corner, and Minnesota carries a 60-49 lead into the locker room in this playing tournament between the 7 and 8 team for the playing tournament. Speaking of this playing tournament right now, we're kind of off track. I'm gonna come back and ask you about you told me about Jalen McDaniels, but I want to know what the difference between Bones Highland pushing off Plumlee and Gobert swinging on Anderson. I want you to explain to me the difference. I don't know anything about this time of year, kind of what that is.
Well, for one thing, Bones Highland and Mason Plumlee, neither one of them are star players. Gobert.
Wait, time out. Hold on. We're gonna get to that. Before we get there, though, I want to ask you about the playing tournament. The playing tournament. Your thoughts on the playing tournament? Now that they've had this 3 years, do you like the playing tournament? Do you think it's fair? I don't know if fair is the proper word for it because you can't really. There's nothing you could do about it. But who does number one, first seed and second seed have to wait to identify who their opponent is, right? Who does that benefit more? Not knowing who your opponent is until like that final game, because they won't.
It's not a benefit for anybody not knowing who your opponent is going to be.
That's not a benefit. That's a non-factor in your opinion.
It's not a benefit for either team to not know. I mean, how could that be a benefit?
No, excuse me. I'm saying who does it benefit more? Is what I'm saying. Who does it benefit more? Does it benefit in this scenario? We'll just use the scenario. The Lakers are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? For the number 7 seed. The winner is number 7, correct? We got that. We understand that. The winner is number 7. Does it benefit the Grizzlies more to have this time off and get ready for whomever they play, whether it's the Lakers or the Timberwolves? They get 2 more days, obviously. Then they get 2 more days. Well, they get a week because they don't play the Sunday. Or does it benefit whomever the winner is? Let's say in this case, the Lakers beat the Timberwolves. Does it benefit the Lakers to continue to play, get rhythm, get that continuity still going on their way to Memphis? Or does it just benefit the Grizzlies because they don't have a game to prepare for? You follow what I'm saying?
Benefits the Grizzlies more because they have more time to heal and rest and prepare.
So you don't like the thought of playing not consecutive nights. They're not playing back to back, but keeping that rhythm going of every other night playing a game that doesn't. You don't like that. You rather not have your team not play than play games. Is what you're saying?
You'd rather have your team get the rest
than not play. Okay. All right, Cleveland. So tell me what your thoughts are between Gobert and Anderson when he didn't really punch him. I don't want to say it was a punch. And Highland's pushing off Plumlee. Tell me the differences there.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert is 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know how many times he's been all NBA first team. They traded 4 first-round picks to get him. That is a different dynamic. Adverse, Bones Highland and Mason Plumlee punching each other. It's not the same kind of thing.
What do you mean it's not? Explain to me the difference. What, one guy's a journeyman?
Sure. One player has established himself as a legitimate superstar in the league, and the other 2 players are 2 bench players punching at each other. It's not the same thing.
I'm struggling to understand the difference here.
So you're struggling to understand how much more impactful one of your leaders and so-called quote-unquote stars punching somebody is adverse your 9th and 10th players on the bench punching at each other. You see a correlation there?
Like Rudy
It's
Gobert
just
is
some players punching each other.
like number one. Rudy Gobert is not like their first, second, or third option. Number one, he's somebody they invested a lot into, but it's a teammate. And number one, it's a teammate punching another.
Okay, well, I guess that's why Kyle Anderson felt the need to talk the way that he did.
Right, exactly. Because he wasn't their first, second, or third option. He wasn't that leader on the team. He wasn't that enforcer. Right. So, I mean, I don't make Bones Highland and Plumlee like, yeah, that's not Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard. Yes, obviously. However, I mean, it's still a bad look to your squad, right?
I don't know what kind of look it is. It looks like some bench players kind of tussling over some things that they were kind of running the 82nd game of the season that is not, and neither one of them maybe get more than 10 minutes a game once this extra season kicks in. So yeah, not gonna take it too serious.
All right, Cleavon. What's your thoughts on the Miami Heat celebrating Udonis Haslem? Letting them get some run in there. Udonis getting a lob, some 3-pointers up, some dunks up. What's your thoughts on the Heat celebrating Udonis?
Love it, absolutely love it. The way that they've always, I guess his last, I want to say at least 4 years, kind of treated Udonis, lifetime Miami guy, high school, college, pros, played with the Heatles, man, always been that guy, and consummate practice player trying to teach the youngins, the right path, and get some run every once in a while.
Udonis has one of the dopest tattoos I've seen. Dopest tattoos on his back. Obviously, the dude is 6'8", 6'9", right? So his fucking back is huge, right? On his back, he has the state of Florida tattooed, like the whole state of Florida. Like from shoulder to shoulder and all the way down. He has the whole state of Florida tattooed on his back. It's dope, though. It's dope. And then he has obviously 305 symbolizing, like highlighted, symbolizing different stuff. It's a dope tattoo. It's one of the dopest tattoos I've seen. I have zero tattoos, but if I did have a tattoo, it really have to mean something to me. And that tattoo, I already knew what Miami meant to him before the tattoo, before seeing that tattoo, but seeing that tattoo and putting the two together, like that was a really dope tattoo. Yeah, I mean, just like you say, Mr. 305, who can argue? Fans, next week we're gonna ask Cleavon to announce his NBA MVP, his Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and his Rookie of the Year, and he can add most Improved Player of the Year if you like, Cleavon. This week, fans, we're going to introduce to you my 2023 All-NBA team. 2023 Voice of the Fans All-NBA team. We're going to start with our third team. Third team, Cleavon. Third team All-NBA. This is a pretty deep squad, too, by the way. We go Stephen Curry, Ja Morant. And now I look at it, all these guys missed some time except one guy. LeBron James. Randall, the New York Knicks Randall, and Anthony Davis. All these guys except for Randall missed time this season. 13. That's my third team, All NBA. What you think about that squad?
Not bad. I have to see how this team progresses, but yeah.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said not bad. I want to see how these second and first teams progress, but yeah, that sounds legit so far.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think? I don't know. You really don't think I know anything about this game, do you? Second team All NBA 2023. Voice of the Fans went into the lab, came out with this list. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, second team All NBA. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Donovan Mitchell, second team All NBA. Luka Doncic, second team All NBA. Jaylen Brown, second team All NBA. And Domantas Sabonis, second team All NBA. Cleveland, what's your thoughts? No thoughts? You silent over there? The fans is liking it. It looks like the fans is liking this list. Okay, let me move on to the first team All NBA, Cleveland. First team All NBA 2003 Voice of the Fans. All NBA squad being announced right now, fans. First team All NBA. First team All NBA is De'Aaron Fox. Yes, fans. I said De'Aaron Fox. Second. First team All NBA, Jason Tatum. And you can figure out the rest of the list. First team All NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic rounds out my first team All NBA squad. What problems do you have with these All NBA teams, Cleveland?
Well, obviously, Shea and De'Aaron need to be switched. That's not a thing. It's fairly
Shea, wait. Shea, you want to put De'Aaron Fox, who's led his team to the third seed,
bro,
and a team in the playoffs?
Shea averages 32 points a game in the NBA, bro.
They're number 10, bro. They're number 10 in the West.
Bro, Shea averages 32 points a game in the NBA.
They are number 10 in the West, Cleveland.
You can't. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, that just goes to show your basketball naivete. You say something like De'Aaron Fox should be above Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, it's just wow.
Yeah, we can have two centers.
Comical on so many levels.
The NBA is allowing the two centers.
No, you can't really have two centers. Thank you. I was just about to address that one. How are you going to have two centers on the team?
The NBA allows it.
One has to be All NBA first team, and one has to be All NBA second team. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the NBA doesn't. That doesn't. This is what the NBA allows, big guy. They allow for
so they would allow for 5 centers if that was the way it was. They just as many as you want.
Or are there 5 players, 5 centers better than everybody else?
I mean, sometimes there are. I'm just asking, given your criteria, is that
this is actually NBA criteria, big dog. This ain't my criteria. This is.
I didn't see your guy Kawhi on there nowhere. That was weird.
Why is that weird? Kawhi missed a lot of games. I don't know how that's weird. How is that weird? I can make a objective list. I don't know if you noticed that or not. My list is completely objective. Not
got some holes in it. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
But you want to put De'Aaron Fox this season 25-4-6. 25-4-6. 51 from the field. 32% from 3. He ain't taking no threes. 55% for efficiency. And his PER is 21.8. And you comparing them to Shea. PER is 27.2. Who's 51-34. His 33-point percentage 3-point percentage stinks as well. Is 34.9. But yeah, he's averaged 31 points, bro. But you don't give, so winning means nothing to you. If you're gonna put that's a good one. Dame didn't make the list. Dame didn't make the cut, dog. Dame did not make the cut.
I thought we were going your injury thing with that. So
with what? No, with Dame not making the cut. Yeah. Well, he missed games. He missed too many games.
He missed too many games. Okay.
He missed too many games. But yeah, Shea. So wins mean nothing to you. If you want to give Shea the nod over De'Aaron Fox, you're telling me wins. You don't give any credit for wins.
Come on, man. The eye test in and of itself. Shea.
What is wins, Cleveland? One team won. How many games did they win? What does wins mean to you? Nothing. Wins must not mean
in the
anything.
regular season when a player averages 31.5 points a game against a team that was lottery destined into the playing game. Yeah, that's different. De'Aaron's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I believe he was an all-star this year. That's cool. Not first NBA.
Cleveland. OKC was 40. OKC
Yeah.
was 40.
Yeah. The more I kind of try and think about this, the less I agree.
In your own theory?
No, in your theory, I don't believe De'Aaron Fox is a better player than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
So
I don't believe he deserves first team over Shea because the Sacramento Kings had a better record. No, sorry.
So you don't credit regular season wins. That's it.
I mean, somewhat to a certain extent, but not when the other guy is, kind of, very similar and, way more numbers of seasons.
You don't respect wins. Just say that you don't respect wins because you're also celebrating a team that is seventh.
I certainly do respect wins, but I mean, not when the comparison has to do with, a certain criteria that I just don't think he's meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, I gave you guys so that's out of 15 players. 15 players I picked. If you got a quorum of about one position, I mean that's not a bad list. Then I say that's a bad list. What do you say, SB? What do you say, SB 23? That's not a bad list. That's not a bad list here. I'll take credit for that. Cleveland, let's take a quick break, man. Let's come back and let's talk about the this week in history. And we got a lot. UFC 287 was wild. Keyshawn Davis was wild. Shakur Stevenson showed out. We got some boxing to talk about too. So hold tight, fans. When we come back, we're gonna hit you guys with some boxing talk. Let's take a little break now here.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name's
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
Is the promoter more of an advisor, or are you telling him what you want to do? Help me out in that relationship.
You know what, I think people are starting to find out, finally, that boxing is just as much a business, just like the NFL, just like the NBA, just as much a business as it is a sport.
I've been a leader.
You've been a leader, okay. So you are lifting weights currently? No. When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble, because you can go from one night, going 4 for 4, being on top of the world, and I can sit here and gloat and pump my chest and do this and that. Also, guess what? The next night I'm 0 for 4.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
Like you said, Pacific Northwest. So, I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for all
Ken, nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
Finish this one for me. Mister, before you let me go.
I can't finish that one.
What are some of the other things that you're doing to prepare for this fight, this rematch?
Masturbating 7 times a day.
Seven times?
Only 7.
Damn, wow.
Give me testosterone. Pump it up. Don't.
Like sometimes people that talk a lot, they're really not saying anything.
If you haven't told your girlfriend about the show, tell her about the show. If you haven't told your boyfriend about the show, tell him about the show. If you haven't told your cousin, your uncle, your grandfather about the show, let everybody know about the Voice of the Fans podcast.
Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
What's good? What's good? What's good, fam? Thank you guys for hanging out. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys for sticking with the show. We appreciate you guys. You can always participate in the show, be a part of the show. Hit us up at @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter, @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter. Cleavon, how can I find you?
At Cleavon Steele on Instagram and at Clevie Wonder on Twitter.
So, fans, this past weekend, man, before we get into this past weekend, let's talk about this weekend history. Cleavon, April 16th, 1862, Congress passed a bill ending slavery in Washington, D.C. in 1862, Cleavon. When did the Civil Rights Movement happen?
The 1960s.
Cleavon, in April 13, 1964, Sidney Poitier became the first Black actor to win an Academy Award for Best Actor in his role. Well, do you know what the role was? Little quick trivia, impromptu trivia here. What was the role that Sidney Poitier became the first Black actor to win the Academy Award in?
If I recall, it was Raisin in the Sun, Cam.
You'd be wrong, sir. It was Lilies in the Field. I never heard of the movie, but that was Lilies in the Field. In 1980, Cleavon, April 12, 1980, a military coup in Liberia, killing President William Tolbert Jr., places Samuel Doe in power, making the first time since the establishment of the country that was governed by people of Native African American descent or African descent, instead of American liberal elite. Cleavon, 4/13/1997. Remember where you were that weekend? That capped off the long weekend. Do you remember where you were that weekend, 1997, 4/13? Let me see.
Seems like I should. It seems like
maybe you remember this if I tell you this is Tiger Woods became the first Black player to win a major golf tournament. 1997.
Masters.
Cleveland Detroit Red Wings became second team in NFL history to win 60 games back in 1996. I think we just had the Boston Bruins, right? Just break that record.
They did indeed.
Became the third team, actually. So this happened in 1996. So what did it take, Cleveland? 30 plus years for this, or 20 plus years for this record to be broken again?
Yeah, I mean, most wins in NHL history is kind of a lot, kind of hard to do.
Cleveland, April 12, 1988, Frank Robinson replaces the great Cal Ripken as head coach or manager of the Baltimore Orioles. I used to think that Baltimore. Have you been to the Baltimore Stadium, the Oriole Stadium?
I have been to Camden Yards. It's magnificent.
One of the first, I can't say one of the first, but one of the modern stadiums that included the apartments into the structure of their ballpark, right? I always thought, I don't know, would that be cool to have your apartment where you can look out your door and have the ball game? So you would live.
I've always wanted to go to the Sky Dome, man, and get a room overlooking a game, especially a big game. I mean, that just seems like unbelievable.
The Sky Dome.
I'm sorry, what's it called now? Where the Toronto Blue Jays play, there are there's a hotel that is around the stadium.
Oh, really?
So you can actually overlook the field.
Really? So I know in Chicago they do this in Boston too. In Chicago, they have the buildings the rooftops that you can look over into Wrigley Stadium. Like they sell those as seats. Like for a game, you can rent the picnic table and chair and look over into the Wrigley Stadium and watch the ball game. It's not the best view, but you can actually look into the stadium and see the game. And what they do in Chicago, like the whole, like you don't drive the street. It's a whole blocked off section when they have the games. That is really crazy right outside Wrigley Field. And in Boston, they do the same thing where they sell that rooftop space for the buildings surrounding the park. It seems kind of cool. But yeah, I just wonder how that felt. Cleveland, April 10th, 1989. KGJ hit his first home run in the major leagues. You know who that is? When I say KGJ, what do you say?
Oh yeah, that's King Griffey Jr. and he did it on his dad's birthday.
Yeah, that was
King Griffey Sr.
Cleveland, did you watch UFC 287?
No.
Oh my! You don't watch UFC?
I do sometimes. I mean, when there's big fights, and when I think someone's not going to get a drug suspension. So
there was a big fight this weekend, man. There's a big fight this weekend. Osina knocked out some dude. He was getting knocked out. He was getting beat up, and then just caught him one time. And just all it takes is one. UFC is amazing. All it takes is one shot, because he was getting dude had pressed him to the corner, knee to the gut, knee to the head, right jab, left hook, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, dude caught him with a right punch, a right hand to the jaw, and knocked him cattywampus. And then caught him again, and it was over. Hammer fist, it was over. It was great. That was really UFC 287, man. UFC, you gotta give these guys credit, man, just for just getting in the shape to compete. Getting in shape to compete and then competing, like, and coming back after an ass whooping. You gotta give UFC dudes a lot of credit. I credit all of them. Because that's a tough role. Cleveland had not UFC training. If you did boxing training, if you did taking a boxing class.
I've done like one class of that. It's a bit much for me. Yeah.
You bowed out. You bowed out. The boxing classes for real, man. Again, so that's why a lot of it, I just got to respect those guys just for training and getting themselves in shape to compete. Like, that's a lot right there. And then to go out there and you know, to compete and win and losses is whole something else. But I give him credit for just competing. Well, Brandon Lee should have got credit for just competing because he got robbed. He got his ass whooped. And Pedro Campa beat up Brandon Lee, the Asian, in Dignity Health Park. Beat him up it went 10 rounds. He beat him up for 8 or 10 rounds. And they gave it to Brandon Lee. And that was that home cooking promoter. Promoter didn't want his guy to lose. The Asian boxer who they're just trying to make this Asian star, but he got his ass whooped on Saturday night, and they ended up giving it to him. Campo was man, that was a distraught because that was a whooping he put on him. He put a severe beating on him, but he got robbed. And then we had Brian Mendoza knockout of Sebastian Fundora, the 6'6" Sebastian Fundora, who's a Mexican dude and likes to bang. You would think a 6'6" guy likes to stand out there and use his arm length, but Fundora likes to get in there and bang and throw uppercuts and body shots and just come at you with a barrage of punches. That's what has made him a dangerous fighter throughout his career, is that he throws punches and bunches, as they call them, and he keeps it up. However, when he was trying to throw a left hook on Saturday night, my man caught him with a right to the jaw, and it was all she wrote. He didn't even get up off his feet. The 8 count, when the official was counting, now I don't know. Again, I give the guys a lot of credit for just getting in there and fighting and competing. But once he got knocked out, he got caught flush. Boom, right on the jaw, right on the chin. And he sat there, Cleavon, and the ref gave him, okay, 1, 2, 3. He looks at him at 6, and Fedora's like, at 6, no, I just can't. He just looked at it. It looked like he tried. He wanted to get up, but his body was like, "No, stay down. Just stay right here, buddy." And he didn't move. Now, I mean, only he could tell us how hurt he really was, or could he have gotten up? But it didn't look like he made an all-out effort to get up, and I was kind of disappointed by that. But it was a convincing knockdown by Mendoza, who should have. Nobody expected Mendoza to win that fight. It was an interim championship. It was for an interim championship if I remember correctly. But nobody expected Fedor to lose the fight. Nobody expected Mendoza to win the fight, and Mendoza just caught him. Just as Fedor was trying to throw uppercut, Mendoza caught him right on the chin with a right punch, and dropped him. And again, he didn't even get up. He didn't get up. He didn't take an 8 count. That's how bad it was. He didn't get up. A couple monsters in New York on Top Rank. Keyshawn Davis. If you ever heard of him, look him up. Keyshawn Davis is a beast. Young dude, 135 level. This is why Spence and Crawford, like, that needs to happen this year, because they're not gonna. Neither one of them, those guys are gonna hold the crown very long. Because Bruce Ennis gets his shot at it, or Keyshawn Davis gets their shot at it, one of these guys are taking it away from one of those guys, the older guys, if you will. Keyshawn Davis, you better keep an eye out on him. Go watch YouTube. The dude is ferocious, and he's pinpoint accurate. He does have punching power. He showed a punching power the other night where he was just unloading on this dude. This one was stopped in the 4th round, if I'm not mistaken. Shakur Stevenson. You got to know who Shakur is, right? He put on a show in Newark, his hometown. Like, boxers just don't want to fight Shakur. Shakur, like, you got to think of Shakur like most of you guys who watch the show know. I think of Floyd Mayweather. But Floyd Mayweather whole concept was not get hit and outpoint your opponent. Not get hit and outpoint your opponent. So his defense was exquisite, right? And you didn't see him getting in too many brawls, and he'll tell you, I didn't want to get in a brawl. I don't want what I want to get in a brawl for. Mayweather will tell you this. What do I want to get in a brawl for? So you can enjoy it. You guys can clap at home. And then meanwhile, I'm getting knocked around and going crazy and taking years off my life. I don't want to get in a brawl. I don't want to get hit, and I'm going to outpoint my opponent, period. That's boxing. That's how I'm going to win. That's how I'm making a bunch of money. Shakur Stevenson says, I don't want to get hit, but I want to hit you. So it's not the Mayweather approach where hit, not get hit. He says, I want to inflict some damage. I don't want to get in there and just win by points. I want to inflict some damage. And he's pinpoint accurate and has punching power. So we got a couple of fights that's on the way. We got Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, which I think Tank and Davis going to win easy. But that's going to say one of those guys is going to have to line up against Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia. One of them going to have to line up one day against Shakur Stevenson, and neither one of those guys can beat Shakur. Devin Haney is going to fight Lomachenko here within about 3 weeks. I think Lomachenko is about 2 years late on this move right here. Lomachenko, at the time, he had the championship. He had 4 belts. He didn't want to give up-and-comer Devin Haney a chance at the title. And partially because he's bigger than Haney. Or excuse me, Haney is bigger than him. Haney's a young guy. Haney's an up-and-comer. He didn't have a belt at the time. So Haney's like, or not Haney, but Lomachenko's like, why would I fight him? He don't have a belt. I want to fight people for championships. Again, when you have a belt, you can make those kind of moves. Well, he ends up losing his belt to the Irishman, who then Australian, I think he was the Australian. I forget his name, but Devin Haney went out and destroyed dude. He destroyed dude in Australia. Went back to Australia, destroyed him again. So now he has the belts, and he's going to be fighting Lomachenko now. This is more of I don't think Devin Haney's stature is going to climb any, but this is more of you should have fought me when you had the chance. Because Haney, whether Haney's not a power puncher, he's not going to knock Loma out, but he's going to beat Loma to death. He's going to beat Loma into submission is what's going to happen in that one. If it goes the distance, is he's just going to outpoint Loma to death. Because I don't think he's going to knock. I don't think Haney has that knockout power, but he's just going to Haney. I know Loma doesn't have the defense to keep Haney off of him. So it's just going to be, that's how Haney's just going to overwhelm him. That's what I expect in that fight. So boxing, man, boxing has a resurgence where we got a lot of fights coming up this summer to kind of keep me interested and until we get that one that we want. And we all know what that one is. Spence Crawford needs to happen by the end of the year because we, again, Boots Ennis, Keyshawn Davis coming in that 135 pound category. So those guys are going to have to decide something. Whether it's at 140, 147, wherever they're at, because these young guys are going to come for them. I'm telling you. Cleavon, I mentioned it earlier. Tiger Woods at the Masters. He withdrew from Sunday. I'm not a big fan of the quitting, but he withdrew from Sunday just so he's having a tough time getting around Cleavon. So that was ugly. I don't know how much of that you saw, but that was ugly to see Tiger in that shape right there. And that brought to mind Cleavon, seeing him kind of hobble around to try to get to his ball, to get the right club to then get to his ball. Made me think about some of the worst fall-offs in sports. Like the year Peyton Manning came back. And they won the Super Bowl, but we know they won the Super Bowl on their defense because Peyton couldn't throw that second half of the season. He couldn't throw 15 yards down the field, right? You remember that? Vin Baker, when he had his problems in Seattle and then ended up going to Milwaukee and just could never get right. Vin had all the talent in the world, just didn't materialize, right? And a guy like Albert Hainsworth, once he got the big deal from Washington, he just kind of disappeared on us. So it's funny how a big guy, 6'6", 300 pounds, disappears, but he sure did. Cleavon, what are some of the biggest, worst fall-offs in sports that you can recall?
You know, Cam, as far as fall-offs are concerned, boxing is always the worst, right? Because they always are trying to live off of past glory, and they get in incredible shape, and they have incredible heart, but their heart just won't will them to do what their mind, their reflexes can. So I've seen Ken Norton get beat to death. I've seen Ray Leonard get beat to death. I've seen Roy Jones Jr. get beat to death. So boxing is probably the worst example of that. I've seen Warren Moon hold the ball a little bit too long. I've seen Franco Harris not be able to juke and cut like he used to.
Franco's running out of bounds.
Yeah, I've seen Corey Dillon try and shift it up to fifth gear and just getting the second. I've seen some players kind of like, ooh, wow, yeah, not quite who you used to be. So there are examples of that. They're always sad. I watched Emmitt Smith get his shoulder separated by Roy Williams. That was one of the coldest things I've ever seen. It was in Texas Stadium, and he was walked off holding his shoulder like the Gooch had just beat him up in the parking lot. It was bad. So I've seen some like, oh, that's terrible, but please don't show that again type moments in sports.
So which would be the worst? Yeah, Roy just lost over the weekend. He was one of the worst.
I think probably the worst would be when literally, honestly, when Jerry Cooney beat up Ken Norton and like he was just slumped in the corner, just getting pummeled. This left, right, left, right, left, right. It was like, wow, please stop that from happening.
Yeah, that's surprising. Did you see Air? Did you go see Air over the weekend, Cleveland? All right, Cleveland, we got some Major League Baseball to talk about. Are your Mariners 500?
Nope, nothing to talk about here.
This was the one. Are they? Do I need to carve out a segment for them or not? Don't look like I need to. Huh?
Not quite just yet. It's been a little bit of a rocky start, and then they were up 7-1 today, and ended up losing 14-9. So not good.
Ooh, no defense. All right, Cleveland. So we got a couple streaks that we need to keep the fans aware of. We got, what's the most impressive streak, Cleveland? Is it Jordan Walker's 10-game hit streak to start the season? These are the first 10 games of his major league career. This isn't the first 10 games of his of the season. This is the first 10 games of his career. Is that more impressive than the Rays starting off at 10-0?
Very much so. The Rays is a team, collective effort. I mean, playing baseball, you only get up, once every 9 at bats. So, yeah, that's way more impressive.
And what's your takeaways from? What's your early takeaways of the Major League Baseball season?
I like the pace of the games. I think for now the pitch clock is and the clock that the hitters have is somewhat of a distraction. Every once in a while it rears its ugly head, but it definitely keeps the game moving at a very consistent pace, and kind of like that.
You notice the extra time? Do you notice a half hour of the game?
Oh, absolutely. I went to the third game the Mariners played this season, and it was over. Like it was. I mean, it was very cold, but it started and it ended. It was like, wow.
You didn't have enough time to eat those crickets up there?
Just barely.
Wow. Okay, so the pace of the game has got your interest in the pitch clock, huh? It's a distraction, he says. Okay, we'll come back to that throughout the season, see how you're doing. You still rolling with the Mariners and the Padres as champs of their respective division?
I mean, for now, until we see how injuries affect the landscape, but clearly my Mariners are off to a slow start, and the Padres are kind of doing what they should be doing given their payroll. So,
well, let's see if it still works for them late in the season. Fans, again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Once again, give yourself a round of applause. Keep it going. We give Cleveland a round of applause for being a part of the show. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you for your dedication. Fans, we're going to end it like this. The dictionary is the only place that success comes before work. Vince Lombardi. One more time for the people in the back. The dictionary is the only place that success comes before work. And so you got to put in the work to be successful. So make sure you guys put in the work and do it. And for your dreams to come true, make sure you give that effort to make things happen. Because they won't happen. Dreams don't happen unless you make them happen. Ain't that right, Cleveland?
Absolutely. No true words been spoken.
So thank you guys for making time to join us tonight. We appreciate it. We'll be back here hopefully next week at the same time. We'll see, kind of in flux right now with their schedule, but we want to keep the show going and glad that you can be a part of the show. So fans, again, want to thank you guys for being a part of the show. Yvonne, I want to thank you for being a part of the show, and enjoy your evening. Let me end it. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hey, Marcel Smiley right here. Thank you for making our voice your choice. You know what I'm saying? Let me give me a beat, dog. Let me get something.